Welcome back to All of the Above with me, Emma Kyo. This week we have an amazing guest on. I've wanted to get this man in for a long time. He is the one and only Ask Paul founder, the director of Fairstone, and of course a financial expert. Welcome, Paul Merriman.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much. I was on your radio show there about a week and a half ago.
You were. We had a great chat.
We did. And then you had the boot on as well, but now you're recovering.
I'm off out of the boot.
Yeah.
I still have a sore foot, but I'm getting there.
I'm telling you. The reason why I think I wanted to have you on this podcast as well, I think it's really, really important not only to know about your own story, but I don't know whether it's an Irish thing, but talking about money nearly gives me the ick and gives us the ick. Why are we like that?
It's definitely an Irish thing. I think that's why we started the Ask Paul brand so many moons ago. But it was, it's an Irish thing. And even when I was growing up, it was a thing of don't tell your neighbours anything. And it's a really close, kind of secretive kind of thing with just family life, I think, in Ireland. But yeah, especially when it comes to money. Nobody likes talking about money. And before we started Ask Paul, I'm like in a second, I had a career in Irish Life and I left it my own business. But when I would have been in Irish Life, we would have had exposure to clients through maybe company pension schemes. So you go in and speak to somebody about their pension scheme, you get 10 minutes with them. Yeah. But you're kind of going, when we did what's called a CFP, which is Certified Financial Planning, it's a grad dip through UCD. So I did it about, I think it's 15 years ago now. I was one of the first through that program in Ireland. And when I learned about the CFPs and how you actually help people financial plan for life and life goals and life events, it's completely different than just selling a pension or advising a pension. But when you look at the pension piece, you're going in and getting 10 or 15 minutes with somebody, but you don't know what their mortgage is, if they're married, if you have kids, or what their kind of financial goals. You don't have time to even assess any of that in 10 minutes. Yeah. So when we did a CFP, I took a step away from Irish Life. I didn't think you could be a CFP and work for one company. And then about 18 months later, we set up PAX, which was a financial planning company. And then we started the Ask Paul brand on the back of that for social media to try and help people for free with jargon-free content and try and make it more accessible.
I saw
back to that family thing.
That's your tagline as well. Because I think before we get into all the nitty-gritty, because even talking about like pensions, mortgages, financial stability, like already I'm freaking out because I'm 40 this year. But we're going to be here to tell people like, or just give them tips and tricks because I know I'm going to take on everything. But first, I want to know your story. And we were talking about this off air. You are such an absolute like powerhouse and very successful man, but you're very humble about it. I can see as well. He's made millions, guys. I'm not going to lie. But I want to know how you got there. Like, where did this come from? Because where are you from? How did it start? And especially that fire in your belly for not even financial things, but starting off not only as an entrepreneur, but like, especially in this climate, explain it and tell it all.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I think going back, I'm originally from Tala, so I grew up in Tala Village. My dad was a building contractor, so he had his own business. So from a very young age, I always had exposure to conversation around the kitchen table about VAT and people not paying. And my sister then was the accountant for the business. My other sister's husband was a painting contractor, so when he came around, they were always talking about jobs and QSs and just trying to flow the business basically. And especially when people weren't paying or VAT returns were coming in and just all this jargon that you kind of hear about business. So I think I was quite lucky in that I was exposed to that from a very young age. And I always, I thought it was great. My dad had his own business. He worked exceptionally hard, late nights and weekends. And I kind of grew up with that around.
Good work ethic.
Yeah, good work ethic. Then my older brother, my older brother, Alan, he went to work for my dad as well. He had an amazing work ethic. And I remember Alan coming back from Australia and saving for his first mortgage and his first house, and him and his wife Angela moving back into our house and knuckling down and saving. So they were all my experience. I'm the youngest of four. So I think when you're youngest of four, you can kind of see life happening for everybody around you really well. And then one of my sister's husband, he had his own business as well. So I got a lot of exposure to it, I suppose. And I think from a young age, I always wanted to be in business and not to be smart, kind of wanted to be successful. Didn't know what it meant or all those things back then. Kind of looking back, it is cool. It's great. If I had got a crystal ball and seen where I ended up, I don't think I'd ever believe it, to be honest with you, without being too cocky. But it was great. So I started. I didn't go to college. I went to college for a week. Couldn't get by rag week, so the piss for a week. Went into college and got a clue what was going on. I think it was electronic engineering. No interest. I think I got 180 points on my leaving cert, like dirt. Like it was really bad. Like everybody else had gone to whether it was at DIT or UCD. I got into Tallaght IT. So I left after a week and I got a job in Duns in the Square and the off license. I told my dad I was going to college every day. I went to get changed. In my Dunstar's uniform in my mate's house. And then, luckily, my mum seen an advertisement for an insurance company looking for staff. So I got a job in a general insurance company called Royals and Alliance, which is like motor and household insurance. They're RSA now. There for a couple of years, did all my exams at night time for the insurance industry. Then I heard there was more money in the investment and pensions and life insurance industry. So I got a job in Irish Life. And I loved it. I remember, like, I got this DVD out when I got the job in Irish Life. And actually the CEO of Mercedes Ireland now, a guy called Paddy Finnegan, was one of the directors in Irish Life. Then I still kept in contact with Paddy. He's an amazing guy. But he came out, and this DVD came out, and it was him talking about the job and how it would help you change people's lives. You'd be helping clients with their finances and their futures and plan for their kids' education. I was like, wow. Honestly, I still remember the house I was in, the couch. I was looking at the video going, I was in Tallaght actually, and I got my first kind of, I felt, it sounds so American or maybe, but I just felt so empowered going, this is deadly. Like this is, imagine being able to do this.
That was your aha moment.
Yeah, it was. Like... And they're going to train you for 2 years and you're going to get all this support. And I must say, Irish Life were amazing when I went into them first. And yeah, it was really, really, really exciting from that very first day. And I loved the job. Like I literally loved it.
So that was in your 20s?
From day one. Yeah, it was 23, I think. 23, 24.
So where does the path go now?
Yeah. Well, it was in Irish Life for a few years. And then the problem back then, as I was saying, back then it was 20 years ago. But I did get a bit of stick from being from Tallaght. And I was never in
Really?
I did, yeah. And
like off your co-workers?
Yeah,
or?
no, like as in senior management, it wasn't great. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there was the odd slight remark, and I think even they're trying to go for my promotions. Now, I didn't have a degree, and I didn't have any of that either. So I went into the CFP, which is the grad dip through UCD, and I got my qualified financial advisor exams in the first year, I think. So I found it hard to kind of be successful and join that corporate ladder, and I did think there was a lot against me, and there was just kind of clique of, you know, maybe senior people and people that were from different areas, different backgrounds, different schools, and like I said, I wasn't in that. So yeah, I went out on my own then. I started for 18 months, set up someone else's life and pensions business as a director. That lasted, I think, 18 months, and then I set up PAX. So PAX was the Latin for peace, so it was PAX Financial Planning. And from there, yeah, we had yourself and Connor, you know Connor, so Connor Bourne. So Connor came with me from Irish Life. He was working in the admin team in Irish Life, and when I was leaving, he came with me. I think Connor's probably one of the best advisors in the country now.
Is this when you were throwing it back and you were like, we the best?
It was kind of like that Jerry Maguire thing. He was coming with me, and Connor went, I'll come with you. He was dying to get out. But it was only two of us in a shared office in Magistrate. And it's really surreal looking back at it. It's so weird because we had a handful of clients. You know, it was hard work, and like I remember once thinking I'll just get out of business and go work for somebody else because it was so hard. Like it was ridiculously hard setting up, and we're obviously very heavily compliant by the Central Bank of Ireland as well, and just paperwork compliance. And when you're on your own as a one-man band, basically, and okay, Connor was with me, but it was really hard, and there was loads of moments of, am I doing the right thing? This is a shit show. This isn't going well. Not getting paid and not being able to pay myself, and yeah, just ducking and diving, complete ducking and diving for the first few years. I can't sugarcoat it. It was just torture. I really enjoyed it with the clients. I enjoyed building the business, and you get success. But the good part about that, I remember when we got clients in, like it was one of those where we kind of high-fiving, and now we have obviously much bigger business, and sometimes those little wins, obviously brilliant doing business with clients, but they don't mean as much to us from a financial capacity anymore because we're well set up and established. So it was a different dynamic. But so that was it. And I think,
did you sell that?
Yeah. So what happened was the Ask Paul brand really kicked things off. So I think it was right time, right place. I remember following Gary Vaynerchuk online now when Facebook was kind of first introduced, and I was on Facebook. And I remember I was on the couch one day, and I think it was looking at this guy from America going, take your passion, make it into, you know, content. I was like, I could probably do that. And I remember him saying something specific, like, you're just looking at other people's lives that, like, don't really make a difference to your life. And, you know, this is going to be a massive kind of pandemic in years to come with people on social media. He was right. This is 12 years ago, something, 10 years ago. So anyway, he had a thing called Ask Gary V. So I said, I'll set this thing up, ask Paul. And my nephew had a camera and went into the office. That video is actually still on YouTube. It's horrendous.
I was about to say, were you cringing?
I was so nervous. It took me like 8 hours to get. I think the line is, hi, my name is Paul Merriman, a financial advisor. Created this thing. Anyway, it was horrendous. And it just took off like wildfire. I think like within 2 or 3 weeks.
I think you were the first person to talk about financial.
It was the force in ours. They had the first move advantage. But I got like the industry thought it was bananas. Like they thought it was bonkers. Now everyone that has.
Did you get a lot of backlash being like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And I remember people saying there was WhatsApp groups going around. Maybe saying like, sap and what's he doing? And everyone thought because we were giving information for free. And it was an older generation in my industry. I need to be fair to them. And I barely knew what social media was back then. Never mind them. But it took off like wildfire. I think it was only a few weeks and Q102 rang. I got on a show with Anisha Quick. It was brilliant. On a Saturday, it was a Thursday night. I think it was a Thursday night. You went to Q102, and that was mad to me. Like it was just ridiculous. Then Virgin rang TV3 time and started doing the odd Sunday appearance, but people would just ask me questions, and I just answer them for free and try and help.
Yeah.
But I never realised what I was going to do. Genuinely, I never realised. I think that was the cool thing about being a social media now. I think there's so many people now pick up social media as a sales tool and a marketing platform. But it wasn't marketing back then. It was just trying to build, engage. I thought I'd get a couple of clients out of it. And if you look at that, see that thing recently on Instagram where people are going back to 2016.
We were talking about this off air.
This is dead. Yeah. So this is, I
where were you 10 years ago?
10 years ago. So we were I think we were in a kind of shared office still up in Sandyford. Was it in Sandyford? No, I think it might have been still in Bagger Street. But rather than going back, I was one of my own pictures and all the kids and all. It was amazing. And we had our son, Luca, in 2016. But then I got an idea, so I go on to the CRO. So I got my accountant, Jim Dorn, Jim as well.
My accountant as well.
Jim's a legend. Let's give Jim the shout from Andorra Bookkeeping. But so I rang Jim and said, Jim, can you get me the accounts? Can you get me the accounts for PAX in 2010? And the company had a 500,000 turnover, 534 I think it was, a minus in the profit of 15 grand. And when I read it, I remember, and I haven't done this.
What does that mean now for
basically
listeners?
You've lost money in the year. Like you've paid yourself and everybody. The company has a minus and a profit. Like it hasn't made a profit that year. It's actually lost money really in the year.
Yeah.
So and don't forget, from an accountancy period, accountancy is done usually in my business it's January to December. So when you do your figures on the December, you're technically minus, but you could be due money in then the first week of January or something. So anyway, we're down 15k, and now. Our business that we sold at Fairstone, I think this year or last year, 2025, turned over almost 14 million. We've acquired a number of businesses, a partner business. I think as a group, it's 24 million in turnover for 2025, 200 staff across the country and 15 different locations. And sorry, I know, I hope I don't come across a bit cocky, but I was just really proud. And I don't think of that. I never reflected. And I remember looking at that 2016 thing going, what's this that people are doing? So this is ridiculous.
And I think that's
but it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate that as well.
I didn't reflect on it until I did that.
Exactly. But I think that's really important because we were only talking about that when I was on your radio show as well. Because you can imagine, like I can imagine how successful you are, and then a business and a team and like your family. You've so much going on as well that you probably actually don't stop and take stock on.
No, you don't.
Jeez,
and I never did.
Built?
And even, do you know what, it was actually the best thing I've done. I'd encourage anyone that has a business or started a business even go back over the last couple of years because you're so busy. I'm married, I've got 4 kids. It's mental at times. And I've never done the whole kind of reflection thing. And we sold the business a few years ago, 3 years ago, which was out of the blue. It was amazing. And obviously, as Don was saying, we got a lot of cash off the table, which I'm very, for my family. And, it was amazing. But that didn't give me.
Did it not?
No, it didn't. It really did. I remember doing the deal with Fairstone. It was amazing. Going back over to London. It was ridiculously, like, it was like mad.
Is that when you bought the car, the Lamborghini?
Yeah. The infamous Lambo.
Well, no, it's really good to tell people about that. Like,
yeah, well, I bought the car because I had this vision. Like, as a kid, I had a Lamborghini on my wall. I had a Lamborghini model that I remember getting Blackpool one year, and I was mad about. I'm still mad about cars. I bought a Lamborghini, and Sarah, we got pregnant on our surprise 4th a few months later. But The Lamborghini, it was deadly. It was really good. It was an amazing car. I can't, like, it was just any boy's dream. But, like, just turning 40, I had 3 kids, the most impractical car in the world to have.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Kept it for 6 months and I sold it back to the dealer. But it was brilliant. It was good, but it didn't give me, again, that what I thought it would.
Happiness.
Yeah, because it's only a car. You know, you got your kids and you've got so much going on in life. But when you're a kid, those are like, they're just material things that when you're a kid or even as a teenager, you think all these things are going to be your success, and they're not.
Yeah,
it's obviously your family, and you obviously you learn to develop those skills. But it was the same with the business. When we sold the business and the money landed in the account, which is life-changing money, it was like, right, I'm sitting down having breakfast. It's the same life. It's the same. Everything's the same. And you're okay, you've getting a nicer car. We bought a lovely house, to be fair. But yeah, it just doesn't do. I still work. I still love what I do. I still meet clients. I still do, these type of podcasts and TV and radio. Look, nothing really changed. Okay, financial security, which is important.
It didn't make you, like the money.
No, because it was always making money.
Yeah.
I think this is the important thing. And this is really important from a mindset point of view for people when they're doing financial planning or looking at things and what they're trying to achieve. You always say this about people trying to overfund for retirement age. Like, there's no point in having too much money when you're 80 if you're not happy now or you haven't got a short and medium term plan. Now, obviously, from a financial plan point of view, pensions are exceptionally important. They're the easiest way to build wealth, and might get into that in a few minutes. They're amazing. But right time, right place for all these things. So we'd always been lucky enough that the business, obviously it was sold because it was a really profitable business, which I owned. So it had money. So I didn't go from being broke to having millions in the bank account, went from being very financially stable to having more money in the bank account. Which was, again, I hope not coming across as cocky, but it was...
No, not at all. You're not. You're in your own head there now, Paul. You're not.
I could back that thing with Irish people talking about money. But so it was great, but nothing changed. And then, but I did, honestly, when I did that thing last week, when I look back to 2010, to the accounts, and I remember that feeling in 10 years ago, in 2016, I remember that feeling of struggling through the business and thinking of selling it, thinking of just going working for somebody and throwing it all in. That's when I actually got like, you did it. I didn't have that until, I know it's so weird. I don't know what that means, but it's really...
I can relate to that though, because I feel I was at that period, I'd say, towards, like, I'm only 3.5 years, like, setting, like, I'm self-employed. I got made redundant. I worked in business development. I was a buyer. And I'm trying to grow something as well that I'm exactly, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? What's your message? Like, I do look at TED Talks, like, what do you want to, who do you want to, what's your target audience? What's your message? What can you work on? Say, like, I want to inspire, empower, share my journey and people to have more, like, confidence in themselves. So I'd say, like, last year I just was like, and especially going through grief, I was like, right, I would just go back to the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But then it's like there was something in me going, just keep going, just give it another shot and go through it with a different angle. So then, like, setting up this podcast, then I have a group trip this year. I have something else. So I'm kind of, have like tentacles, like an octopus now. And I'm like, I don't have to be all about like inspire, help this. It's like, we can go down this avenue. We can explore
you can do different things.
Because I do think as you get older as well, and especially we try to pigeonhole ourselves in one. So like, let's say like you're a financial expert, you know all these things, but then like you do radio, you do talks, you do like, it's kind of like trying to, you're on social media. It's not putting, like, I feel we put ourselves in one box and we're like, what do we do now?
Yeah, I think that's a society thing as well. I think that's what we've been growing up with. I think social media's been great for that. It's giving people a lot more, I suppose, vision, and anyone can take a camera out and be able to share their story, and hopefully it hits home with other people that might want to follow it and like it and aspire to be like you. But I think we spoke this on my radio show, actually. You're talking about checking in and journaling and all that kind of stuff, which I don't do. But yeah, I got a real buzz over going back over the last 10 years. And it was something that I'd never planned on doing, and it just kind of hit me hard. So when that hit me, I was kind of going, that's cool. Because you can kind of get yourself back to remembering what it was like back then. But equally, I was saying this to Connor recently, the office is amazing, quite proud of what we built. But yeah, I kind of missed those days when there was only like 4 or 5 of us in the office when you're starting off.
Was it nearly the thrill because it was like that middle
it was a daily thrill. It was a different it was a different thrill. And I think there's a certain element when you're in a small business, you have a certain level of hunger. And also I'm older, I'm 44 this year. And there is a big difference in doing this thing when you're 29. I think I started a business Yeah, it was 29 actually. So it's 15, 16 years ago. So, but I that hunger and that living on the edge and, you know, revenue letters coming in and trying to get paid off people and just the whole balancing thing. But I know I'm looking back through rose-tinted glasses because if I'm honest, it was it was a really difficult thing to do. But I did love it. I did because I love the underlying piece of the financial planning and giving people advice. But yeah, so I think from that point of view, that's we sold the business. Still have the business. I'm still the CEO of Fairstone. We've done a lot of acquisitions over the last number of years. It's been great for a different, avenue. We've never bought a business. So we've bought apparently 16 firms over the last 3 years, which has been mental.
Wow.
So it's been great organic growth and acquisition growth, which is, again, something that I would have always dreamed of.
You're going to be buying banks now in the next few years.
Might just set up a bank to compete against them because I hate them that much.
I'm telling you, I know. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty now, which is amazing because I think my own self, because I have a few questions here and I think from listeners as well. We've talked about why we feel a bit uncomfortable about money as well. Yeah. And I think we've grown in a society of we don't like to put value on ourselves or talk about our worth and you know, things like that as well. But a big thing I'm seeing, even for my own self, is the pressures with finances and the cost of living and how can we plan? Like, what can we do? You know, if someone's coming to you, like me, for instance, I'm 39 and I'm self-employed. And like, I'm trying to probably survive. People probably think on the outside, oh my God, she's loads of money. Here, I'm literally like living. Like, I'm just literally living right now and trying to chip away. And I live at home. This is the thing. I'm very grateful I had the opportunity to move back in to save a few bob, because otherwise, like, you're talking, it's $2,500 for rent and a one bedroom. So what would you say to me and everybody else in my position who's trying to save, plan? Like, I feel like pulling my hair out sometimes. I'm like, I'm never going to get there.
So there's two ways to do it.
Right.
There's the really hard way, which not many people want to choose. And there's an easier way, which sounds great. The hard way is knuckle down for maybe 12 to 18 months. You don't have a life. You do the whole frugal thing. You save every single penny you have. You start selling things that you don't use, like older clothes. And sorry, I wouldn't recommend this, but that's what people do. Okay, so you go down the frugal piece, you make it really hard, and you get somewhere in 18, 19 months. Or the other part is you say, well, I'm going to get a financial plan and I'm going to try and identify my financial plan from being 39 to 90 years of age. And when you start looking at your life in a bigger lifespan like that, in a bigger time frame, you'll then start to plot in, I want to get a mortgage by this stage and get in the property at this stage. I'd love to be able to retire early. I'm going to set my business. And when you start to map it out, you start to become, I feel, and what most of our clients, we've done over 20,000 financial plans for people, they start to feel a lot more confident themselves because they know the information. So this is what you need to do to save the mortgage, to get a mortgage in the next 2 years. Or especially a lot of people that come to us will be maybe in a relationship and they have kids and it's tight because the kids are in creche and they have a mortgage payment and they're not investing or they don't have pension. That's okay because you're supposed to be, excuse the fresh and fucked at that stage. Everybody is, because there's a lot going on. So financial planning is actually about trying to get yourself in a helicopter view of your overall life and trying to plot in what you want to do and when. And okay, the harsh reality might be, okay, it's not going to be 2 years, it might be 3 or 3.5 years. But once you understand that and you know it and you're chipping away with getting there, it's actually okay. So I think we put an awful lot of pressure on ourselves. I'm sorry, by the way, I will have to say this. I don't know what it's like in today's world to buy a property, but I do have experience with hundreds of clients that we've helped along, thousands of clients have helped along the way.
What's the average age that you'd kind of help? Like,
it's kind of in around, like, sorry, we got, again, luckily for some kids coming into us at 21, 22 years of age, buying property, doing well on social media and gaming and YouTube and loads of different things. And just people that are being quite successful, very, very young.
Would you have everyday people coming into you?
Of course you do. Like, it's 90% of our businesses. Typically, people look at us probably about 30 years of age or 45 years of age, that house buying kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
Then our kind of wealthier individuals are kind of 45 plus, typically speaking, not all the time, because they've got life somewhat under control. They might have had a family early, have kids, the kids are out of college or out of school, there's no creche fees, and they're like taking their head out of the sand and looking around going, right, what do we do next? We've got a little bit of money in the bank, how do we plan correctly? And that's probably, you know, the biggest part of their practice when it comes to financial planning piece. But the mortgages we've always done for people, because Not many financial planners
This is
do mortgages.
where we're going to get into. I'm like that. I'm like living in a shed out my man's back garden.
Yeah, and so many people are, but it's not your fault. So the housing situation is an absolute disaster.
Because I used to own a property, and then obviously I sold that with my ex as well. And we were talking about this. And since I am a single time buyer and I'm a second time buyer as well, obviously I don't need the 20%. It's 10% now, which is great.
Yeah.
But then I'm not eligible for schemes.
No, you're not eligible
rent
for
to
schemes,
buy, grants. But if I was married, I would have been.
If you hadn't married him and you got divorced, you would have been.
I just don't get this the system. Like and this is what pisses me off.
So I think that there's a few things. Look, there's always going to be a section of society that it doesn't feel like it's fair or aren't looked after when you have a housing crisis, and you look at the Department of Finance and the government in particular trying to put in schemes that will help people. So unfortunately, they want to support the person who never bought before rather than the person that did buy before. And so that's fair. It's harsh for you, but you get it. Also, with the divorce situations, the divorce situations can sometimes lock up property for a longer period of time because nobody can move on. And it can also be really detrimental if there's children involved, because if you don't have a property, let's say the mom stays in the house and the dad moves out, and if they can't afford to buy anywhere, they might be renting, but it might be hard to find in Dublin, especially in Dublin. Sorry, any major city, a decent rental property that has enough for 2 or 3 kids to come and visit at weekends, and therefore the quality of the life of the relationship and that family dynamic. So that's the thinking behind it. I know that's not your situation, but that's the thinking behind it. So you'd have to, I'd go, I'm pro that. That makes sense. So if you're divorced and you want to have a second chance, you've gone through all this, and especially when there are children, if there are children involved, you need to kind of protect that family system. So they do allow people that are divorced or separated what's called be a fresh starter. So they will qualify for the schemes like the first home scheme. So they're all there for that reason. But you're just found yourself in a situation where you're one of the anomalies that haven't been looked after by government because you haven't technically been married. But this is all like, it's the same for people that are cohabitating with children. Like if they pass away, they don't get access to what would have previously been the widows. There's a load of anomalies where if you're married, you're better off being married from a tax point of view, from loads of point of view.
Do you know, I remember when I was with my ex, when I bought the house with him and I went to my solicitor when we were like signing all the documents, he was like, you literally just missed the loophole. It was only a year in that the law changed with cohabiting.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, prior to that, I was actually telling my clients to marry each other. I didn't marry him. But you know what I mean? I was like, imagine having to marry someone just for the sake of a house.
The solicitors aren't the best at relationship management.
I just was
so just to say you didn't either. So what you need to do, and sorry, people should do this today, if you're cohabitating with somebody and you have a mortgage with that person, you will get the house. It doesn't go back to the will, their parents, that's what it used to be. But you will have an inheritance tax issue because you're still treated as strangers. So from a law point of view, you get the property, but you're still a stranger. So if myself and my wife Sarah, just say we weren't married, we're living in a house, let's just say the house is worth €800,000. I pass away, Sarah under inheritance tax laws has just inherited €400,000 and she's going to be taxed 33% on it. Like, so it's outrageous.
I can't. This just aggravates me.
But this is where financial planning comes in, and where I think, and I know I will say this, but everybody needs a financial planner, where it's us that ask Paul and Fairstone or somebody else. This is where you get the overall advice in a financial planning situation, because the majority of brokers out there and banks will give you the mortgage and you get your mortgage protection policy and you think you're sorted.
Yeah.
What you actually need is an additional life policy where I insure Sarah, she insures me. It'd be 20, 25 quid a month maybe. And if I die, the life policy pays Sarah the €400,000 and she gives it a revenue commissioner and she keeps the house. And she doesn't have to remortgage or do anything mental. So there are all these, like, financial planning is full of amazing financial products that helps people. But they just don't understand it in their personal context, in their overall financial plan or their timeline. So, you know, it's
a bird's eye view.
It's a bird's eye view, but also with preferably, I'd like to say, a certified financial planner, because the financial planner is supposed to have, or will, in my opinion, have a higher level of competency when it comes to trying to make sure that all those tax, the legal pieces, all those things, or what I'd like to call loose ends, are all tied up in the financial plan. But sometimes you're talking to the client, it almost looks like you're trying to sell them like an extra life policy, but you're not. It's not about the life policy. It's 25 quid. It's not about. It's about making sure that if something goes wrong, or the 1% chance of somebody pass away, that us as a financial planner have your clients completely covered and completely squared off. But there's hundreds of these little things in everyone's life. So unless you sit down with a financial planner and absolutely map out, right, I'm 39, I'm going to probably statistically die late 80s, early 90s. What does it look like? So when do I technically want to stop working? Am I going to get married? Am I going to have a house? And when do all those things happen? And what's the repercussions of all those things happening? Or if you buy your own house and you meet somebody or your boyfriend moves in, and what's their rights and how does that? Well, there's just so many things that people need to figure out.
I met your colleague Connor a few years ago, and this was when I was just about to sell my house, and obviously like I was working, all that thing, and we made a bit of a plan, but obviously I need to revisit that because my life has changed now. And I only bumped into him and he was like, Emma, let's sit down. So obviously I know I'm going to sit down with him in March because my whole like life has changed. My finances have changed as well. Like, I'm scared as well. But at the same time, it is just looking at like where I am right now and what does that look like. And it can be really overwhelming. But I remember when he sat there and he was just like, okay, what can you do? What's the minimum? What's the maximum? Like, where do you see it going? And you can check in like every single year. And I haven't seen him, obviously. Jesus, I hadn't seen him in about 3 years because it was 2022. Now we're in 2026.
Yeah, it's different.
And I was like, okay, because I remember years ago when I was actually getting a mortgage, there was a mortgage tracker. And I love all this, like, when you type in like how much it is and how much you're going to have to save, because I love all the formulas, and then I have actually understand what I can afford. And I remember the mortgage like person or financial advisor said to me, he was like, okay, these are two things. He was like, what do you want to buy? Do you want to buy the house or do you want to buy the area?
Yeah.
And I was like, the house. Right. So I went after the house. Right. What does that look like? Okay. What is your mortgage? Okay. What is the max you can afford? Right. So then he drilled down saying, what's the repayments? So then we were able to put that in. He was like, there's your budget there. That's what you need. Where before I literally felt I was pissing against the wind.
And
I was like 400, 450. And I was like, but I felt so much more at ease then.
I always say this when I'm doing interviews or positives, it's the exact same as fitness. So if you're waking up in 2026 and you want to get a bit fitter, or you want to do a 5K run, or you want to lose weight, or whatever you want to do, it's all about having a plan. It's all about getting on the weighing scales, finding out what you are, or we're going for your run and seeing how long you can run before you have to stop. And then like the couch to 5K thing is a great thing where people do a little improvement every single. It's the exact same with your personal finance. You just need to find a financial planner that has the competency to understand, number one, be able to get on with you and understand life. So I always think that people should be trying to deal with people in their own type of peer setting. In my opinion, you don't want to have an advisor that's too old. And you don't want someone that's just right out of college when you're 39 years of age, because the college kid has no edge, has no experience like you have. And then the guy who's 60 years of age is probably born at a different time, different era, and doesn't understand maybe just emotionally where you are at life. So I was trying to find somebody in around your kind of demographic, in my opinion, that's going to be your advisor. And then trying to find out, is your advisor like going to the gym? You don't want somebody that's unfit or massively overweight trying to get you in shape, because if you look at them going, you're not practicing what you're preaching. So you usually want to have an advisor that's probably on the proper ladder, has a life set up, is maybe, if you're in a business, that someone has been successful.
From experience.
So they're all the things that you should be trying, because it's a relationship, a financial planner and our clients, and you want to grow together and make sure you understand. But you were talking about Connor a few years ago. So we sit down with clients, and this goes for everybody. Again, with us or somebody else, you're going to work with somebody else to make a difference. There's really 3 worlds that you have to check in with every year. So it's your world. So, okay, you now don't have a mortgage. You're now single. Buying as a single person. You're now self-employed. So your world's completely changed. Our world has completely changed. There's more banks in the marketplace. There's more fixed rates. There's more better mortgage structures that we need to tell you that they weren't there 3 years ago. And their world is like a basket case now in relation to Trump and all the different things that's going on in the world, which affect interest rates, and it's going to affect inflation. And so those 3 worlds need to be looked at, in my opinion, on an annual basis for people, for clients. Because, okay, your world might have changed, but we might have an amazing new fund or a new product, or interest rates in the world have changed. So it is important that you check in, get your helicopter view,
like
get a financial plan, then check in.
Or like your little catch up, like you need those little resets.
100%.
It's like an annual review, like with your job.
Annual review. It's just an annual review in your own life. But it is, I will say, like on this as well, and I know you will like this, and we've grown into this massively over the last kind of 8 years as we've met people, because I would say 8-9 years ago, we were really good at what we do. And again, I'm probably going to sound arrogant. I think we're excellent now. The reason why we're excellent is that we've gone through this with over 24,000 people. So we've seen how people react to financial plans, how they react to our advice. So now it's actually more about goal setting. So we find now people react more to, like I said, the helicopter view, right, where are you? Where do you want to get to? What's your short, medium and long-term goals? It's almost impossible to do with your financial planner if you don't know those.
Yeah.
Because then, like I can't really do anything for you. Okay, I can tell you what to invest in and make more money and what the best pension, all the different products are. But it's not going to mean that until you when you walk out the door. Where if I told you, look, you're going to be able to retire at 55 and be able to move to a tax efficient country and have more income, and you're going to set your business up, or you're going to be able to buy a property, and they're all the things that kind of people strive to then in a really good financial plan. But otherwise, walking out and having a pension is okay. Everyone probably needs one, but you want to know, am I going to be able to retire at 60, 65? If I put more in from 50 or 55, can I get out at 60? Yeah. Is that aligned to my goals? Or some of that love my job and I always want to work?
How, talking about that now, because obviously your goals and what does that look like? What age should we start looking into that? And even, because I have a note down here about, pensions, our life insurance, all that. Like, when should we start thinking of all these things?
So there's a few things to go through here. So there's the main 3 pillars of a good financial planner for anybody that's starting to make an income. Is you're looking to protect, grow and replace what you have. So you're looking to protect your income, you're looking to grow it, and then you're looking to replace it eventually when you want to stop working, whether it's 65 or 68 with state pension age.
What are they?
So the protect piece is the most important. You mentioned life assurance, but for me, for you, income protection is the most important. I knew that. But it's the most important financial product you can have.
Especially for self-employed as well.
100%, because something goes wrong, you're relying on the state to hopefully give you a couple of quid, and then everything stops because you make your own money. Yeah. And again, don't be disrespectful because you're single, you're not living with somebody.
Exactly.
You've only got one income. Yourself. Yeah, you've only got one income coming in. Then you're back to parents' help, and nobody wants to be in that situation in their 40s for financial reasons. So if you're 18, 20, 22, the best thing you can ever do before a pension, believe it or not, is get income protection. There's no point in being 25 and having 10 grand in your pension and having a serious illness or accident, and you can't touch, because you can't touch the pension until you're 60.
But income protection, take the money out.
Your income protection pays out automatically after maybe 13 weeks, and it pays you every month up until your 65th birthday. So it's if something goes wrong with sickness or illness or health, and okay, we hope it won't happen, but we all know somebody that's either, got seriously ill or sick or has a really bad illness or an accident.
That's really good to know.
So I genuinely believe that before you get into any complexities around bigger products, the most important thing anybody can have is an income protection policy. And the younger they are, they're pittance. They're like, and you get tax relief on them. They're just so cheap. So that's the one thing I'd recommend.
How much are they for the lowest point?
20, 30 quid a month to get tax relief on it. It's like it's nothing.
It's like brunch.
Like it's nothing. It's genuine. Sorry, again, not everyone has that, but
I know, of course.
In the overall schemes of financial planning, what people are looking to do, it's such an easy thing. Now, a lot of people watching and listening to this might have it in work. So we have it for all our staff in work. And when I worked in Irish Life, you had it in Irish Life.
It's your benefits.
So with your benefits, you usually have your pension, income protection,
if
what's
not,
called debt
ask
and service.
Everyone. Ask your boss.
Yeah, if not, ask them. But yeah, so that's the kind of basics. And then life assurance is really important once you start having children, or if you end up cohabitating with somebody and you're going to have a tax liability should something go wrong.
Yeah.
So that's it. Typical 20-year-old doesn't need it, walking around the town, they need income protection, and then you only really need to think about life cover if you start having children and you're not married in particular. And probably if you're married, you need it as well with kids. Yeah. So that's it. And they're all like again, I'm saying pittance because in the overall scheme of when we look at people's financial plans, they'll at some stage amass tens, hundreds of thousands, if not millions through pensions and investments. So when you're talking about €40 a month or €10 a week to get yourself an income protection and a bit of a life cover if you have a baby, like it's not like it's lunch. It's two coffees. So that's kind of the very basic. And then when you're getting into the grow your income, you're talking about investing, and then replacing, you're talking about typically a pension, or else. This is really interesting for business owners. Like pensions aren't all like I didn't have that much of my pension when I sold my business because I would have used most of the money to fund our business and to put it into marketing and grow it.
Yeah.
So, but when I sold the business, I put a massive lump sum in from tax reasons. So I'm now sorted. So business owners are different, especially if you're a limited company, because you need in a limited company if you sell it, and if you're sole trader, some of these rules apply as well. You can liquidate your business. You can take out what's called retirement relief from age 55, which up to 750k tax free. You can take entrepreneur relief, which is now.
For me. I'll get all this off, Connor.
Yeah, or else entrepreneur relief, which is 1.5 million, with only 10% tax paid. So they're the two cheapest forms of money taken out of your company. Where a lot of advisors will give you the pension because But you have to pay tax on your pension when you're taking it out.
This is the
so
thing.
It's trying to get that. This comes back to knowing your advisor has maybe had a business or sold a business, and
I
trying
think
to find
pension
those
is
things.
pushed an awful lot compared, because I'm at a place now where I've had a pension since my 20s, right?
Yeah.
And then I think I took a bit of the money out because I went to Australia. I was like, whatever. Then I obviously started, that was the little buffer. But now I'm at a place of, I know it's obviously risk and you do want to keep that money there. And that's why I want to talk to your team about this. It's like, is it better for me to keep chipping away at my pension?
No,
or
you need to get a
start
house.
putting it into...
No, you need to get a house.
So should I stop my pension?
I would say, I can't remember what's going into it, but we'll have a look at it. But I would probably say reduce it. Because again, you're putting money aside for 8-year-old you or 90-year-old you.
Instead of me.
And you've started at 20 and you've already have it decent, like you're at a decent level for your age. So, and not saying everyone's out tomorrow and stops their pension, but if you want to get on the property ladder, like to me, your main financial goals over the last few conversations we've had, I know you don't mind saying this on air, is to get on the property ladder again.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, you put, say, just say it was 200 euro into your pension, it's 200 quid, you get tax relief on it, so it's going to be 120.
That's what I'm putting. I'm putting around 200
so it'd be
or
about
250.
120 after tax. But you probably need that extra 2 or 3 grand in your back pocket in the next 3 years. And okay, on a spreadsheet, you're going to have less income when you're 80, but property prices are going up by 5 and 6% around this area. So you're kind of going against the wind. And again, this is where, rather than second guessing it, whether it's me or Connor, we sit down, it's identifying all those things and find out what's actually best for me rather than what I think. Because what you think, in your, no disrespect to you and everybody, you're just second guessing and you don't really know.
But we've been told
hoping,
this.
Yeah, you're hoping. So there's a thing called a spreadsheet advisor. This is probably interesting. Hopefully it is interesting to people. If I sit down with you today, I'd be able to show you a spreadsheet to say the pension's the best option because you're going to get your tax relief and you're going to have a lot of money over here. So yeah, the spreadsheet will tell us. But the spreadsheet doesn't know that you haven't got a house and your main goal is to buy a property. Yeah. And that's where the human interaction of a financial planner comes in, and being able to conversate and talk and get your goals and your ambitions and be able to build a financial plan around you rather than the spreadsheet. Where I was in Irish Life all those years ago when I started this I was one of the spreadsheet advisors, getting in talking to people just on pensions. But, that was 20 years ago where the industry was. But it's completely transformed with the Certified Financial Planner designation coming in and advisors getting more holistic into financial planning advice and helping people.
Yeah, holistic. Wow, look at you.
Throwing them out for you.
I'm telling you, this is so interesting. So then, obviously I know we've touched on as well because I have loads of questions, but I think we're already covering them because I said if someone feels behind, what do you tell them? We've already talked about that. We've talked about pension savings and investments. But see, even me, right, I'm very curious about investments. I don't have an awful lot of money right now. Should I just go gung-ho saving for a house?
You should be saving for a house,
apartment, not thinking of investments.
You should be, yeah.
Because I feel like it's like, invest this money, it could turn into something.
There's too much pressure, but it can't. So just to say, so we've just brought 3 amazing funds into the Irish marketplace with predominantly Vanguard, which are the biggest fund manager in the world. And the reason we sold our business affairs down in the UK, they manage with 20 billion of assets, and you can get really, I suppose, better access to cheaper investment products for the Irish marketplace. So we're quite proud. Okay, I wouldn't put you into them today because I want you to get your house, to be honest.
Right.
So that's just first and foremost. But when you look at the investing, I can promise you, I can 100% promise you that I'm not going to ever make you rich through your investment account. What I can do though is make sure you get a better return over time compared to a bank deposit or anything else probably out there. So investing, when people think about investing, we automatically think we're missing or we're going to make millions or we're missing something. You're not. The people that are billionaires and millionaires, they haven't made their money in the markets. They've made their money growing businesses and being successful and taking that money out, and they go into the investment accounts to make their money work harder than it will in a bank. Where we have this social media thing of
Bitcoin trading.
Bitcoin, I'm going to go into, like, there's not a hope I'm going to make anyone, unless someone comes to me with 10 million and puts 10 million in and I get them a 10% return, that's when I can make them $1 million. That doesn't happen. So our typical clients are business people that want to invest money or to keep on the bank, and they have corporate investment accounts. There are people that will have lump sums in the bank that don't want to have it there. Are people that have really good incomes and have mortgages and want the money to work better for them or their children over the next 10 to 15 years. And those returns over the last 10 years are typically well over 10, 13% a year compared to the banks being 0. So invest and don't feel like you're missing out, because the investing thing is not real. It's that they make real good money in returns, but they don't change people's lives unless you leave them for 30 years. So you go into investment for a couple $100 a month, going to do nothing for you in the next 3 years other than give you less income when you move into your house, when you finally get your apartment.
What should I do? So I remember a few years ago, I obviously had I was working 2 jobs at the same time, and it was prior to me selling my house, and I put a few bob into stocks with Connor, right? And I actually sent him an email on it. I was like, I need to know. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, should I leave that there and pretend it doesn't exist, or should I use that money to take out for going for a mortgage? This is for not even for me, but for other people. What should I do?
Preferably speaking, you'll leave it there until it comes to the mortgage point. So the market runs through cycles where markets go up and down in value. So I think everyone, dogs on the street, know that markets go up and down in value, and stocks and shares go up and down in value. So the big thing is trying to take your money out when the market's up. So you've done really well from that investment point of view over the last number of years. So you're up. So you could take it out today, you've profited a bit of money and you could use it. But it depends. If you're going to buy the property in the next 6 months, I'd say, take it out. If it's going to be 2 years away, when we look at the financial plan, say, okay, you could probably leave it here for another 12 months and be able to do it then. So it's about
my research last night.
Yeah, you can't time the market in fairness. So it depends on where you are and what your risk level is. But again, you need, and everybody probably that's watching this, that's thinking trying to get on the property ladder, or whether trying to move house, it's the most expensive thing you can do between stamp duty, solicitor's fees, buying the property, kitting it out. It just is expensive. So
you need every
unless
euro.
you're exceptionally cash rich, you probably just need to focus all your energy in that one spot for a certain point of time. And okay, maybe you have 20 or 30 grand less in your pension, but you probably have an easier journey in the next 3 years.
Well,
it's that back to that balance.
Yeah, well, this conversation makes me feel a lot more relaxed, because I was thinking, do I leave those stocks in? Do I leave that pension in? Do I leave this? Where now it's like, no, Emma, you need to set your life up now.
It's on it now.
I actually really like that, because I think we come from, especially from a generation of our mothers, our fathers, saved money for a rainy day. Keep that there, keep that there. Of course, we're going to have a little something there for if something happens. But now you're like, Emma, just gather all the stock and see where we're at.
Gather everything you have and try and focus on the property, because that, trust me, if you delay the property for a year, your 300,000 house is now 320. So it's a 20 grand delay.
Right.
So it's moving too quick. So it is about, trying to, but again, I will say, back to that kind of mentioned earlier on, you've got 2 ways to do this here. Knuckle down and don't spend a penny, start selling things you don't need, don't spend a dime really other than to keep yourself alive and fed. And you'll probably do it a little bit quicker. But I wouldn't be into that way. Some people might have to do that because you have kids and they've got rent and they've got evictions, and I feel like I can't, I'm giving loads of different advice here, and it's not going to suit everybody, so I'm conscious of that. But I'd want to have a decent level of a life over the next 2 years. I don't want, if I got the house a little more expensive in the 3rd year, but I was able to go on holidays and be able to have a social life and connect with family and friends, not be isolated, and my mental health was all right. They're all really important things. So again, that's the balance. But other people will, I have loads of clients that come in and just knuckle down really hard for 12, 18 months. Some people go abroad and stay in a tax-free environment and come back. Some people are really aggressive at doing it, which is great for them. That's not for everybody. So it's about trying to find out what your personality is, what your financial plan is, and then your financial planner is supposed to build you the plan for you. So you're going to be completely different than the next 39-year-old that comes in and wants to buy a property, because they might have different circumstances. Sorry, you are. Probably you are going to be completely different. Yeah. Everyone's different when it comes to financial plan. Everybody.
I agree. And I feel like we've covered so much in here, and it's been actually refreshing for me, because I was in my own head for the last year or two, and no offense, I would have had mega anxiety over this. Yeah. So just to wrap things up as well, if you were, for people who are actually in my position or who are younger or older, what is the biggest advice statement that you'd give to people trying to make a financial plan, get a mortgage? What's the one thing?
I'm going to say the financial plan and goal setting is the only thing I can say. And like I said, but it's us to do free financial planning consultations. People say why they're free, because we believe that if we do a really good job of people financial planning wise, they'll come back to us in 3 years' time or 4 years' time with the right to do the mortgage, and we'll transact business at that stage. So that's always been our kind of deal with Irish consumers. We'll give all the information for free, try and help people as much as we can. So, I can give loads of tips, and I've given loads during this. It's going to hit with some people, not hit with others. But the best thing you can do is just give yourself into a financial plan, get a financial planner, book one in, give all the information, and think about before you log in and before you meet your advisor, whether it's online or in the office. just think about what's my short, medium and long-term goals. And just on that, if you're listening to this and I think most people listen to podcasts on their own, am I right? I don't think many people listen together. Yeah. If you're in a relationship with somebody, write down your 3 financial goals today, short, medium and long-term, and ask them this evening or tomorrow or the weekend what theirs are and make sure they're aligned.
Yeah.
Because if they're not, that's a whole new different podcast, but that's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're somewhat aligned in your financial plans with your partner or spouse. So just writing down them yourself today, short, medium and long term. One goal, short, medium, long term. What are yours? And then what are theirs? And then if you can just do that with a financial planner, I promise you, after a financial planning consultation, you will walk away feeling, and not you won't have a pension or a mortgage or a product necessarily, but you should feel a lot more confident and a lot more at ease when it comes to money because you know you have a plan. That's all everybody needs. We just never got educated about this stuff.
That's it. We call them SMART goals.
SMART goals.
S is for get specific. M is about measurable. So what it means to you. A is like attainable.
Okay.
Or is the reason behind it. And what is it? Yeah, the reason behind it and what it means to you. And T is time.
Yeah.
So like even
that actually exactly fits into a financial plan. Everything you just said there fits into a financial plan.
But it means like that area, because when I even talk about in coaching as well, it's all about like everyone focuses on there's like 7 main areas in the wheel of life. So not only do you have career, relationships, social fun, health and fitness, you have finance, and a lot of people don't really dive into that as much.
Actually, I should have said this. So I had a book out a couple of years ago.
Did you? I would have said after at the start, Paul.
And I did. It was bestseller. I was quite proud. But
link on Amazon.
But the reason being, when I was asked to write a book for a year, so you're to remind me this. I always forget this. When I asked to write the book, I said no. I was asked loads of times to write a book. I said no. I said because it's too hard, because I don't know who the reader is, and I believe you're better off getting a financial plan than reading the book. I really do believe that, but I don't read that much. So the kind of publisher saying, look, a lot of people might be nervous to book in for a financial plan, so the book will kind of help them break down their own heads. So what I did was I took the Wheel of Life and I made a financial Wheel of Life. So what we did in the book was we have a financial wheel of life, and you score yourself like in the
1 to 10,
and whichever you score the lowest, you read that chapter first.
Very
good.
I
tried to make it somewhat engaging, and then you don't read any of the other chapters till you get that chapter sorted, and you're supposed to pass the family and friends then once you finish the chapter.
I love
because
that.
I don't think genuinely if you're buying a book, whatever, it's it's money made easy. You can get it practically everywhere.
Paul.
No, but again, it's a plug. It's I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
But if you don't want. If you're nervous of financial plan for something you do like reading, the reason I did the financial wheel of life, I suppose, is that I can't, there's no point in reading this book cover to cover if you don't have a financial plan, because your head be melted because there's too much information. It's such a wide topic.
I know.
Where if you just pick the book up and you go, right, I have too much short-term debt, I don't have my emergency fund, I don't have a pension, I want to get a mortgage. Just go read that chapter and then hopefully come back to the next chapter a few months' time or a few years' time when you've nailed that one. But the Wheel of Life, the financial Wheel of Life was developed on what you're talking about, which is the Wheel of Life, because it's so important to have that structure and that balance.
Yeah, and it's a snapshot of where you're at in the here and now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, well, I think we've covered a lot, and thank you so much for coming in, giving me all your knowledge, sharing your story, and I know I'll be back in to see you and your team to get my whole year in order to hopefully not live in a shed out in my mum's back garden.
Well, look, thanks for having me, and congratulations on this. This is amazing.
Thanks,
well done.
Paul.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.